Hello everyone, I'm Sara Raney, and I'm not an attorney. I am a victim just like you. I lost my son, Kenley, on January 25th, 2019. I will never forget that night when I got the knock at the door and then a telephone call, then a knock on the door. And the words, "Your son was involved in a crash and he didn't make it. It wasn't his fault." I'll never forget this. It was another goddamn drunk. I could see the police officer visibly shaken, having to tell me that through the gate. I truly believe that I was already in shock when I hopped out of bed that night. Well, that is when my life sentence began, 5.5 years ago. And that is when reality that I had known for years and thought was true was not reality at all. But just like everyone else, I never thought this would happen to my child. He was a safe driver. He always followed the laws. He never had an accident. He certainly didn't have any DUIs. He didn't drink and drive. He drove thousands of miles across the United States. He loved doing that. But it happened. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Reality. Forget what you have learned and seen on TV. Forget what your people have told you. Forget what anybody has told you. Why? Because I found that many well-meaning people are out there telling you what to do, how to do it, and how you feel. How you feel. How do they know how you feel? By what's written in books, what they see on TV, what Uncle Joe has told them when they lost their dog or their cat or their chicken? That's not reality. Now, don't get me wrong. I love animals. In fact, a beautiful, beautiful dog, an Australian shepherd, blue-heeled shepherd, was with my son when he died. Correction, when he was murdered. Marshall flew 500 feet to his death. Why? Because the man who killed my child was going 136 miles an hour and hit a parked car. So I call that murder. I even call that deliberate. Because if you get into a car is a weapon if you're drunk. But that's another thing you have to fight. Now the reality is that we are put into a 1,000-piece puzzle that we are left to put together while going through shock, trauma, PTSD, and depression, which never leaves you. How do I know? I had a bout of it last week and the week before that was debilitating. Now that's reality, not what you see on TV. And incidentally, When you get that knock at the door, everybody reacts differently. I was in shock. I walked around like I was in a maze. I didn't scream. I didn't yell. I didn't cry for many days. So don't let anybody tell you that you didn't respond the way you should have. You responded the way you had to survive. Now, in the past, I have discussed how the DA denied my victims' rights. I did have the proof, or I do have the proof, and witnesses to take him to the American Bar Association. But that is another battle. I do not think it's worth fighting. He would not care. He simply would not care. He's too narcissistic to care. And incidentally, he is no longer a DA there. That is just who he is. And sometimes you just have to walk away. The reality is you must pick your battles and the people who surround you to survive. Now, sometimes you have to break off with a longtime friend or relatives because they may be well-meaning, but what they're telling you is just get you all worked up, get you frustrated, and put you in tears. That's reality. Now let's talk about victims' rights compensation. It's a little bit different now. And I brought this up for one particular reason, the paperwork. Now, well, I can tell you what happened to me. I was handed a packet without any explanation, of course, told to fill out. Now, I was still in shock. Despite what people think and what some attorneys or district attorneys think, you do not switch trauma and depression and shock off and on like a light switch. I'm sorry, you don't do that. But people expect you to. I know I was called senile when I couldn't remember things. I can't remember things today. And when somebody throws reams of paper at me and tell me to do it, like with victims' rights compensation documents, it's like, and you ask questions and you can't get any answers, and they tell you, they refer you to a website or tell you to call a telephone number, and you call that telephone number. If you're lucky, you get a human being, but that's rare. You have to leave a message. And they supposedly call you back. And if they do call you back, well, guess what? You're referred to another person. It seems like everybody has their job. Pass this paper out, answer this one question. Now, in their defense, I know that they're extremely busy. But we are victims. And we lost someone we love very much. And we're just trying to fight to survive. And that is something that never goes away. Unfortunately, today, we are left to fight every step of this horrible nightmare alone. And even if you have a family, I don't, but even if you do have a family, you can still be alone. This is a nightmare. This is a life sentence. And again, what is so frustrating is the criminal gets everything. If he needs a therapist, it's paid for. if he needs to have a, what do you call those, locks put on their ankles, interlock devices, excuse me, put on their ankles, they can't pay her to pay for it, we pay for it. We are left to fight every step of the way. And we do not get a cent. Yes, I just mentioned victims' rights compensation. If you have the strength and the knowledge and want to fill out all those papers, dig out all the documents, when you need the money, you can't do that. There are people out there that don't have money for to bury their children. Do you think they're going to have time to do a victim's rights compensation paperwork, to call all those people, wait weeks for them to come back? Excuse me? You have to take care of everything and bury your child within a few days. And you're supposed to do that? Oh, and it does say you get your money quickly. Has it got anything the government you got quickly? You can't even get somebody to call you back in that amount of time, let alone get a check in your hands. And I don't think it's that much money anyway. And I was told, I don't know how true this is that if you get any money in a civil lawsuit, like insurance money or anything, you have to pay it back. Now, I am not an attorney. This is what I was told. And of course, no matter, each state is different in all the laws. This is why I keep telling you, I am not an attorney. This is what happened to me. The reality, this is reality. You are looking at the person who has to have the strength to get through this. And frankly, it's not easy. Now, like I mentioned, the reality is this is just for most people in everything they do, it's a job. And you are dealing with this. It's a job. And you want to stand up and you want to jump up and down and say, this is not a job. This is my child. This is my life. I'm a victim. Help me. Oh yeah, they'll tell you helping. Forget that one. But with that being said, okay, the reality is that, yes, it is just a job for these people you are dealing with. And yes, they have hundreds of cases on their desk. And each case has a number. Now, you do not want your child to be just a number. And I'll tell you why in just a minute. Now, this is why I always say the squeaky wheel gets the grease. By reading and educating yourself, you must always show them that you refuse to have your loved one just a case number. They have a lot of cases. They want to get them off their desk. I mean, let's face it, we all work. We've been in this situation ourselves. So I think you're going to understand what I'm saying pretty quickly. One of the things that is not commonly known, that is a DA can do a plea deal without your say-so. Especially if you do not stay involved. Now, I do caution you, stay involved, but be the one who's the professional. Keep your temper to yourself. Keep your language professional. Treat people with respect, even if you have to bite your tongue. But let them know that you are involved and you are reading and you are educating yourself. And you're talking to people. And you're not afraid to talk to people. Let them know that you will not let your child be a case number and be forgotten. If you ask questions, they will refer you to websites, provide you with numerous telephone numbers. Most of the time, it's impossible to get hold of anybody. They don't have to learn what's in these documents or how to do something because they refer you to Google. And you're suffering trauma, shock, and you have to go to Google for something. They have become paper pushers, needing to be more knowledgeable helpers like we had in the past, but that's in the past. Again, the reality is that we need to educate ourselves, which is extremely difficult to do. I know because I've been doing this educational journey for 5.5 years. I only wish I'd known what I've learned when this happened. Things would be a lot different. And I would have done things differently. But that is one of the reasons why I'm doing these videos. To give you my experiences, my reality, from somebody who is an attorney, somebody who's alone, and somebody who is a victim. Now, I never thought this could happen. I really never thought this could happen, but it did. And again, I have this horrible life sentence. And I know that every parent worries, but never truly believes that this could happen. But it happens every 70 seconds here in the United States. And yes, one drink could cause us a life sentence. One drink. This is reality. Now, like I said, victims today, helping is to Google it. Google, 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 Google. Research is hard to do. Government sites are not kept up to date. We are suffering trauma, shock, depression, PTSD. And we're flying back and forth maybe to different cities or different states. We're dealing with not only our normal day lives, but also this horrible nightmare that we're going through. But people expect you to understand everything. I guess, it's reality. There is no understanding that when we're suffering, that we don't have an off and on switch. And that we never get over losing our child. So don't even go that direction. In all this trauma, depression, and frustration, we must be strong, knowledgeable, and a squeaky wheel. It's challenging, but not impossible. That is reality. I have been talking about my experiences now for a couple months. This has become very personal to me. And in the future, I am going to be a lot more personal. I hope it helps others. Honestly, I'm doing what my son would want me to do, because that was the kind of person he was. That's the kind of person he was. And I'm looking at his picture right now. I know that's what he would me do. Honestly, he would not want me, honestly, he would want me, put it this way, to be happy and to live every day without self-pity. Whoops, that's hard to not to do, but my son would want that, and I am going to achieve that. Now, while I know there are days that you cannot sleep, days, what am I talking about? Months, years. And there's sometimes you want to just go to sleep and not wake up. And I'm sure some people want to end their lives. Don't do that. Your loved one is with you. He or she wants you to be happy. Do what you can do. Be who you can be. He wants me to live, and I want to honor him by helping others, as that was who he was. Join me on this video and others to come on this personal journey as I share the story of my beloved son, Dr. Kenley Gene Raney, and his loyal furry companion, Marshall. On January 25th, 2009, their lives were tragically cut short, leaving a void that seems impossible. Yet, amid this darkness, I found a guiding light in my son's unwavering spirit and profound desire to make a difference in this world. He's not here, but I am. I am. Through tears I have every day and triumphs, I will strive to honor Kenley's legacy by channeling his passion for the life and healing into the mission, hope, and purpose to helping other victims. Together, please, let us celebrate the extraordinary life of Dr. Kenley Gene Raney and your loved one, your child, and embrace the profound impact that they continue to have. And to those that all knew him as a true friend and someone that could help, that was my son. Thank you.